Okay, so let's start off. So our today would be our first session. So what is DevOps? So that should be our first point where we should start. Now, brief introduction has been done in earlier sessions, like what is DevOps, history of DevOps and everything. So this would I'll just walk you through this course structure for 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll quickly start off our session. Okay. So it is there are different sections. Introduction to DevOps. These are the topics which will be dealt into it. And cloud computing and virtualization will be touched, and Amazon Web Services basics would be taught. Okay. And introduction to Linux and shell scripting would be done. Okay. So after that, Python programming, advanced Python programming. These are the topics that will be covered under Python programming and advanced Python programming. If you have any doubts, so we go with JIT repository for source code management. Okay, continuous integration, in-depth, JIT in-depth, continuous integration, so which is Jenkins in-depth. Okay, so these all would be the topics which will be taught on Jenkins in depth. Okay, so and these will be the build plugins which will be configured in Jenkins, and we will test how to build applications using these build plugins. So these will be the web servers which we'll be learning. So Tomcat, Glassfish, Apache and IIS. So how to install them and how to configure and how to deploy applications and all of them would be taught. Okay. So after that, yes, for monitoring, Nagios will be taught. So how to install, configure, and trigger alerts in Nagios, and how to monitor servers will be taught in Nagios. And the important part, containerization. So we use Docker for containerization. Okay. So coming to Docker, so these would be the topics which should be covered in Docker. Okay. For configuration management, I believe we have two tools, Chef and Puppet. Both of them would be covered. Okay. So Chef. So these would be the topics: overview, databytes, environments, roles. So these would be the topics which will be taught under Chef. And coming to Puppet, overview, roles and profiles, manifests, modules, and few Puppet use cases would be taught under coming to Puppet section. Okay. And Nexus is for Artifactory. Artifactory is nothing but something to which where we push our deployable files for storage. Okay, so why do we push our deployable files for storage is our code has a version control system, but our Artifactory, that is the deployables, do not have a version control system, right? So it is not that which is getting updated every now and then. It can be done, it can be pushed to repository, Git repository as well. So but mostly we push our artifacts into a artifact repository, so that at any worst scenario, let's say it's a failure or some at high availability situation, that's to auto skills edition has to pick up artifacts, we can redirect it to it should it can be redirected to Nexus or Artifactory for picking up the deployables. Okay, and for deploying an application we use Rundeck for deployments. Okay, and MySQL basics would be taught, and building a DevOps pipeline will be done with below stages. Okay, so one would be a source code management stage, okay, and a build stage, and a application deployment stage, and the Artifactory stage. So all the stages would be the minimum for sure. So if anything, we can add it as a add-on. So this would be the topics which should be covered during the entire course. Okay. to quickly, yeah. So what is DevOps? It's just a quick introduction to DevOps. Anyone for whom it is a first session, or just a brush up. It's been 2 3 days since we spoke. So what is DevOps? DevOps is nothing but, as its name suggests, it is bringing together dev plus ops, which is joining development and operations together. Okay, so what does it what does it mean? You're joining development and operations together. Okay, how does it symbolically say, you're saying DevOps is derived from it? How does it actually mean is, so every time a developer checks in his code, or every time a new version is released, okay, or every time the dev team comes up with a new requirement, okay, so they need to work with operations team so that their code, whatever they code, should be gone to production. They first sure need an operation team, right? So if you write a code, let's say I am a developer, okay, so now I've written my code, so and each one of you, all of you in groups represent different what do you say, different section, different departments. Let's say few of you belong to QA, few belong to build team, few belong to staging team, and few belong to production. Okay, so now these are all the operations team, which if not coming together, so how will my code be moved to production? It cannot be moved till production. So for moving my code till production, I need it's a must and should condition that I should take help from all these teams. Okay, so DevOps is one process wherein it is bringing together both the dev and operations team to achieve a desired goal. Okay, so we no we just we what are the important aspects when coming to DevOps? So coming to DevOps, what are the important aspects? It is nothing but, so you should have, let's discuss it in the prerequisite session. Okay, so DevOps we have seen. So why DevOps on cloud? Okay, specifically what is the significance of DevOps in the cloud environment? Okay, so what is cloud environment? Going ahead. So anything which can be accessed over internet, okay, over internet. Okay, so some
Yes, Mama.
application not hosted on your local, yeah, who's it?
This is Sunil.
Sunil.
I have a question. Is it okay now or after?
We'll take it end of the session. Okay,
Okay, fine.
yeah. So something which is not locally configured, or which is not locally hosted on your server, but which is hosted somewhere, actually which is sitting somewhere, and which we are trying to access it, okay, via the internet. Okay, so this is actually, which means that it is something which is sitting in cloud. Okay, so if your application is sitting in cloud, so how are you going to access it? Simple, and same answer again. It's nothing but you are going to access it via the internet. Okay, so now how is DevOps on cloud is what is the topic now. So how does it actually work on a cloud environment, and do they really need a DevOps person on a cloud environment? Yes, so DevOps person is required on any of the environments. So why specifically on a cloud environment? Okay, so why are they having huge demand on cloud environment? So coming to cloud, that's a most emerging, it's emerged, it's the developing or demanded area these days. Okay, so why? So it is actually cutting down our infra cost, our time and everything, right? So which can decrease the time in which we can deliver our go and deliver our deployables, or we can deliver all the deliverables, can be delivery times can be met before that. See, let's say you have tasked 10 weeks, so which includes 2 weeks of setup, 2 week or week of connectivity, a week of linking everything. So 4 weeks is gone like this. So instead I'll say 6 weeks, which means it is very less time, it is almost reducing 40 to 50% of your timeline, so that you can be able to deliver your products on time. Okay, so in this scenario, because most of the applications now are migrating to cloud because of the same reason. Okay, so and when all of the applications are moved or migrated into cloud, let's say most of them are migration applications. So in that scenario, we need a person who has who's well versed, or who has a lot of knowledge on both the dev and operations team and how it leads and how it goes. So that's the place where DevOps person comes into existence, rather than hiring one for QA, hiring one for dev, and not totally writing code. So to handle dev environment, that is admin person, and again some other person to handle production, one build and manage, build and release person. So rather than all this, we get one DevOps person. Yes, they are sufficient. That is what we have in market these days. Okay, so coming into DevOps on cloud. Okay, so when compared to a normal environment, there are few differences when coming to a cloud environment. Okay, so how many virtual machines do we need? It's not what is the amount of server, what's the server space which we require, what is the RAM which we require. That's the question which comes to a normal server. But when it comes to on cloud, some servers on cloud, how many servers do we need? What should be the capability of each server? Okay, so in which network should it be? Okay, on which VPC should it be sitting? How are they going to communicate? Okay, and if at all it has to be auto scale, how it should be done. So these are all some questions which come. So which will be, can understand when we go in depth. Okay, so quick jump start today. So it would be Amazon Web Services, which I will be starting off today. So why I'm quickly jumping to AWS is because everything I told you initially, so everything would be taught on a cloud environment, so that you get familiar with the cloud environment by the end of the session. Okay, so for the same purpose, I am teaching you Amazon Web Services. So today's session would be just a kickstart of Amazon Web Services. For people who have already listened, it would be repetition. Just listen, be patiently. Okay, you have two options. As soon as you come to Amazon, aws.amazon.com/console, okay, just type Amazon Web Services Management Console. You click a link in Google, you will be redirected to the same page. Okay, so you have sign into AWS console, sign into this one. This will take you to the same thing. Okay, so you'll be going to a home page wherein you need to log in. So please do enter your mail ID and click I'm a new user. Okay, so When you click I'm a new user, it will take you to a screen, okay, where you need to provide your, choose your password for login. And once you log in, you need to fill all your details, your name, your, the organization, or, with which you're working, if you're working, okay, or where you're studying, okay. So your date of birth, your mail ID, your mobile number. These are all some details which you have to note down, okay. So it's a common registration stuff, so why stressing on it? So once it is done, then comes another section wherein you have to verify your payment details, okay. So to verify your payment details, okay, it asks you for a credit or a debit card number, okay. Provide whatever you have, okay. So for just for a verification purpose, deducts around $1 from your account, okay, and again it refunds it back to your account. It just wants to verify, okay, whether you are the, is that actually your card or not, or is it in working condition or not. That's it. So just deducts $1 and refunds it back to your account. So once your payment verification is also done, then you're ready to start using Amazon Web Services. So before that, which section would you, which package, would you go with? You would go with basic free tier. So coming to basic free tier, you have 750 hours of free usage every month for the first 12 months. So let me explain you 750 hours of free usage, what it means, so that you will not end up paying a lot of bills. So, let me clearly explain you. So today I have created a virtual machine, okay. So now let's say, whatever, it's my time is around 7:30. So I've created one virtual machine, okay. So this virtual machine has started running now, okay. So how much, if at all I'm not turning it off till next day 7:30, okay. So how many hours did it run? It is run 24 hours. So from 750 hours, we have lost 24 hours as of now, okay. So it is 750 hours in which your virtual machines run. Suppose you're running 5 of them. So for a day, 5/24, almost 120 hours is gone. So every time you turn on your virtual machines, please do make sure that you are, when you start it, make sure that you stop it once your work is done. If at all you're not stopping it, it will generate heavy bills after that, okay. Due to, until some extent, up to some extent, the same as the billing cycle which we have, up to some extent they charge low, and after crossing it they charge, putting heavy amount on it. So I know few people who didn't who were running around 4 to 5 instances, who didn't turn it off, who left it turned on. They're supposed to, they got a billing of $40 to $50. So make sure that your money is not wasted. So that please make sure that you please turn it off after your use every time. Okay, so that's it. So now first let's speak about the page which we are seeing. So this is our AWS Management Console, okay. So there's a place where it is listing all the available services of AWS. So we have so many services in Amazon Web Services, okay. Uh, in this, from this page I can see, there is one called AWS, which is showing something about resources, groups or something. And this symbol will take you again back to the same screen, okay. And services, it is another way of describing it, So actually each service is, you can see it from here. Compute, so 4. S3, 6 under them. Storage is, so compute, you have 4. Storage and content, all the 6 are listed below. So it is displayed on a category, and history of the recently, first 6 or 5 to 6 services which are frequently used are displayed in services. Okay. Hello. Hello. Who's Krishna? Hello.
Krishna.
I'm not sure. No. He pinged me and I just replied hi.
Okay.
Ping you as well.
Krishna, any do you have any doubts or any problem?
No, just I want to get in touch with the folks. That's the reason I'm thinking.
Okay. So going ahead, we have, okay. So these are the different AWS services which I'm seeing. So just see whatever is there here, then we go ahead in depth. Okay. So this says what is my username and what is how I can sign out. Okay, security credentials, my account, billing and cost management. So every time your bill gets generated, you have to check it here in billing and cost management. If at all there is no bill for it, it will show you 0 there. Okay, whatever if it is levied, it will show you whatever is levied. Okay. Let's go to Envergy. So this is actually this is a region which I'm showing you now. Okay. So what is actually what is this geographic region speaking about? So Amazon Web Services extends its help in different geographical locations. Okay. It actually works around 8 to 9 of it has its extended supports in 8 to 9 geographic locations. So among which we have one which means that it has its infra or big set of servers hosted in different geographical locations. Okay, so and Virginia, California, Oregon. In Europe it comes to Ireland, Frankfurt. Asia you have 4 of them. In South America you have 1. Okay, 1 location. So you can just ask me simply why why are we hosting it in different geographic locations rather than putting in one place and heaping up all the servers in one place. Okay, simple question. So there are 2 major reasons for it. First thing, let's say you have 4 rooms in your house. Simply, small example. Okay, so you are trying to just arrange your cupboard. Okay, so to arrange your cupboard, how with the newly brought stuff you're trying to arrange your cupboard. So your cupboard is a server and the newly bought stuff is the content which is supposed to be pushed into your server, or some stuff you're trying to pull out of your server. Okay, very simple. If you are standing in the same room with all the new stuff or the luggage which you want to push into your server, it is easy to do it rather than you standing in hall and you giving this to someone else to move it and finally reach your room, or you moving 10 times into another room hall, getting your luggage into your bedroom 10 times and pushing it inside. So which is the most effective way of, or most fast way in which we can just arrange our cupboard is put all your data in the same room where you are and then try to push it inside. The same way, if at all you have your you have servers, or you have your application or your deployment servers sitting in Virginia, and you try to use a server from Ireland, yes, it do works for you. Okay, but still what happens is it takes a lot of time for you to push your data from in Virginia region to Ireland, if at all you're really there. And so worst scenario is if your servers are hosted in Virginia, but your clients want a cross-region deployment, then in that scenario you can't do anything but go ahead and do it in Europe. But when you can afford to do it, why should we get a time lag in doing it? So that's the reason it is for everyone's comfort. It is divided and placed in each geographical location. First up. Second one. So your data is always backed up on AWS. So always disaster recovery is taken care by Amazon Web Services. Okay. So now your application has crashed and you ask it, when we go for some premium services and ask them to restore our infra. Let's say 10 of your application, let's say 10 servers are rather than hosting it in 9 geographical locations, you have put everything in one geographical location, and your server has crashed. Let's say it didn't leave only your server crashed, but it has even crashed the servers in which your data backup is there. Because they are all in one geographical locations, there is more possibility that they might also get crashed. So now all of them got crashed. So how are you going to retain your data? There is no way. So now when it is in different geographical locations, it is not backed up in only one geographical location, but it is minimum backed up in 2 to 3 geographical locations, so that even 2 or 3 of them are gone in a worst case scenario, it means you will be left with a 1 or 2 servers backup. Okay. So that's the reason why it is spread across different geographical locations. So this is one support section wherein you can contact AWS support team for any of the queries or any of the problems which you have. Okay. You have you can drop a mail, or you can give your own mobile number and ask them to give you a call, so that you can speak with them and your issue can be resolved at that point of time itself. Okay. So this is all just what we are seeing from the AWS screen. Okay. So going down, we have a lot of services. So what are all the lot of services? Compute. And compute, what do we have? We have EC2, we have containers, okay, we have Elastic Beanstalk, Lambda, a lot. So what what is it speaking about? Okay, so let's say compute is EC2 is one service wherein we launch our virtual machines. Right click on it, open link in new tab. IAM, Identity and Access Management. Under security, you have Identity and Access Management, which is also required to control your users, assign them roles, and specify what services it can touch. For all this access and related stuff, you need to touch IAM. So right click on it and click open in a new tab. Okay. So now coming to networking. VPC, which is nothing but a virtual private cloud. Okay. So what is a virtual private cloud and what does it do? So each of your virtual machine which is created needs an internet connectivity. So it should go through a VPC so that it gets a proper internet connectivity. Okay. So what it does and how to create it, we'll see in depth. Okay. Don't worry. I'm just showing services which will be touched. So these are the developer tools which will be, we would be taken at the end of the session. Don't worry, once all our topics are completed. And yep, this is enough as of now. So let's quickly jump. So EC2, I said EC2. When I click EC2, see how many, actually see how much list of data is, you can find it. Events, tags, reports, limits, a lot of them. Okay. So this is your dashboard, and there is something called instances. So what is an instance? An instance is nothing but your virtual machine. Okay. So an instance is your virtual machine. So in this, these are some of the instances which are already created, which are some virtual machines. Okay, so under this, when I click on instances tab, I've got all those instances, whatever is there. Okay, so every instance displays some data, its name, its instance ID, it's what is the instance type, what is instance type specifies how much amount of RAM and how much amount of hard disk it has, and how many vCPUs on which it runs. Okay, so based on that we categorize instances, different types of instances. So it is 2T1 dot micro. We will see what are all the next available stuff. Availability zone in US East. Okay, so coming to US East and Virginia, in Virginia we have different availability zones. US East 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E. So similarly, for every location we have, it can be from 1A or to 1B, 1E or 1A, 1B. It's a single, it depends. Availability zone is, which means in how many available areas it can be, how many availability zones it can be deployed, or how many availability zones in which your application can be running. It is all that stuff. Okay, so now we have so many availability zones. So I've launched each one of them separately in one availability zone. That's it. This is an instance state. Okay, it says is it in a stopped or a started or or a running or a terminated state. It says about 3: stop, pause, started, or terminated. Okay, started means running. Okay, so if at all it is running, what is the status? How is its health running? It will show you health monitor, health check here. Okay, so any alarms, nothing, and it shows you the public DNS IP over here. Okay, so now there is one more section, spot requests. When you go for spot requests, what is spot requests? If you're not in a position to create an instance and you need an instance on the spot configured with something, or some criteria, which means that a service instance is already launched, you just log in and start using it with whenever configuration is done. So for this we do when we are now, when we don't have time to configure our instances, or when we are in some urgency, we can go with spot request. In this scenario, it is heavily charged. Okay, and don't ever touch this section. Reserved instances, scheduled instances, dedicated hosts, commands, spot requests. These are all heavily built sections. Don't touch any of them. Okay, reserved instances, which means some virtual machines are specifically reserved for you, whether you use them or not, they charge you. So it is all going to an enterprise level, so wherein we have such requirements and then we use them. But for a practice purpose, we are not going to touch these sections. And please, I'm stressing on it, do remember it. Okay, so scheduled instances is one section wherein we schedule
Spandana, what are those sections we do not touch?
Spot requests, reserved instances, scheduled instances, commands, and dedicated hosts. In this,
Okay.
under this instance, go only with instance. Don't touch any of the others. Okay.
Okay, I have one more doubt. Okay, with a free account, like we have our 750 hours of free usage per year, right? So,
Yeah, right. Every month per year.
Pardon?
750 hours every month for first 12 months.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. And I can say while launching an instant, I can choose whatever the configuration I wanted, right?
Yeah, right. We'll see. No. We'll see. I'll show it to you.
Okay.
So, after that, we have one section, images. So, I'll just walk you through this and we'll quickly jump into creating an instance. But just let me walk through, because you're not, I guess most of you, it's a new environment. So let's get familiar with this environment for a couple of minutes. So
Okay, sure.
under images, what are we having under images? So we have something called AMIs. We have bundle tasks. Oh, so what is it all speaking out? What is an AMI? What is it? So images are nothing but, it is nothing but a copy of your operating system or some application which you have run, you have taken a snapshot of it and stored as an image. That scenario, it will be stored, it will show you in the list of images owned by me. When you go to public images, it shows you all the list of images which are public images. Okay, and we have a section to categorize into private images also. So AMI is Amazon Imaging Service. Okay, so it's Amazon Imaging Service. Okay, so in this, why do we need it? To create an instance, we need an operating system on which it should be built, right? It's Windows, it's Ubuntu, it's CentOS, it's Linux. So whatever it is, RHEL. So for that, you should have a copy of your operating system. How are you going to actually build your instance? First, to do anything, you need to actually, how do you get your local machine ready? You have your hardware, local server ready. Have your hardware. Okay. So once all your hardware is there, then you have to boot your server and divide drivers in it. Okay, so before we do that, I just go and press the a button which opens a CD or a DVD tray, wherein I put a CD or a DVD and say it's a Windows 7, Windows 8, or Ubuntu 14, or Linux 12, whatever. I put it there, close it, and when it reads it, it automatically asks me to gives me an option to install it or not. I go with the next option, and it can be customized. Then your operating system is ready, after which only we can do something. But in a cloud, it means it's a virtual machine, which means it is not a physical machine that is existing, right? It doesn't have any physical interface. So where are you going to go and put a CD so that you can boot your instance in a real scenario? Where are you going to put your CD? That option is not available for us. So that is the reason why we go with imaging service, where we pick up an image. Okay, so this image is having nothing but a base operating system, or it can be it can be leveraged based on your requirement. That's a different story. So what we have is a base operating system. You have Windows 7, you have Linux, you have Ubuntu, whatever. So your instance can be booted with one operating system. So you choose one of them and go next. So now your instance is booted, after which you can do any further configurations on it. Without our instance getting booted, we are not in-depth hardware people to actually deal on a server without having a software or a operating system running on it. Similarly, without that, we can't do anything on this virtual machines. So first we need a image ID on which we actually launch our virtual machine. Okay. So elastic block storage, it has, I told you, volumes and snapshots. So volumes, set of storage which you have, and coming to snapshots, an important section. So I told you images. So if at all one of your instances is up and running, virtual machines is up and running, you can always create a snapshot of it at any point of time. Select it, actions, image, create image. So it will actually, let me click and show you what it does. Just say create image. What is the image name? What is the description? What are the options you want? You don't want it to reboot, or you want it to reboot and then create a fresh image, whatever. So, and what is the size of hard disk you want, and this is all the stuff which is there. And when you click create image, it starts creating an image in this section which we have seen, snapshots owned by me or images owned by me. Under that section you can see it. Okay, So once you have it, you can use as a base image to launch a infrastructure. Okay. Security groups, load balance, and rest stuff. You will see it. Wait. So I'll say launch instance. I'm saying first step, I'm trying to create a virtual machine. Let's quickly see what all AMIs or images do we have. We have Linux, Red Hat, SUSE Linux, Ubuntu, Windows, different Windows editions, okay, and different Ubuntu, a lot of them. It has around 22 AMIs, okay, all 22 are listed here. This is the place where any of your internal AMIs are there, they will be displayed. This is a marketplace, okay, where you have just AMIs updated, from which you can purchase AMIs, okay. So after some level, AMIs are also chargeable, okay. So these are some community AMIs, okay. So just go to quick start. You see some AMIs here. There's something different. Nowhere under them can see something called as eligible for free tier. But when you come here, you have an option saying free for free tier eligible, which means when we select actually free tier, basic free tier package, which gives us 750 hours of free usage, we can use all these AMIs along with that, okay, which means that using this AMI will not cost us anything, okay. So let me select Amazon Linux, and again this is a type. So each type, so what is the number of vCPUs used? 1. And let's say for T2.micro, it is again saying free tier eligible, rest will be again billable, again chargeable, okay. So and what is the memory? It consumes 1 GB of memory, and its storage is EBS storage. Network performance is low to moderate. This is not so high, but it is moderate. So when you go to M4.x large or M4.2x large, you get a high performance in network, okay, wherein you have 4 vCPUs or 8 vCPUs running, and it's a 32 GB of RAM, which is of space which is utilized, okay. Memory in GB is 1 GB of RAM. Here it is 32 GB of RAM. When you go to all this advanced ones, and it is 64 GB of RAM for M4.4x large, okay. So and this is the EBS storage, and what is the speed it is actually trying to give us. It's all just shown here, okay, right. So I'm going with T2.micro, which is a free tier eligible. So next, configure instance details. So requested spot instances. I said spot instances. So how are we going to get a spot instance? When we click on this, we get it. Make sure that is never checked in, okay. Number of instances, I want to launch 1 instance, okay. And it is saying something in network, subnet, auto-assign IP, IAM roles, shutdown behavior. It is speaking about some new terms which we don't know, okay. So what is coming to network section, what is there? Network and security. Here. You have security groups, group elastic IPs, you have key pairs, you have placement groups, and network interfaces. Most of them would be covered there, but one which will be missing is elastic IP. So what is an elastic IP? So every time you get your instance up and running, we stop it and restart it. What happens is it actually, when you start it, it assigns a public IP to it, okay. So after this public IP is getting okay, wait. There is a subnet, there is a network, okay. So with help of VPC, actually VPC and subnet do communicate and they assign us a IP address. It's a public IP address. Actually, how do we get a public IP addresses? Whenever a LAN cable is connected to your PC, you get an IP address. So now it's a virtual machine. It doesn't have any physical connectivity. So how are you going to do it? With the help of VPC, which actually, helps us in getting a IP address. Okay, it does some DNS mapping and and it gives us an IP address. Okay, so when you get an IP address, actually, so after we get an IP address, yes, I know I've used this IP address in several locations of my work. And after some time, when I stopped my instance and started it, nothing is working in my environment which worked earlier previously. So how are you going to react in this scenario? Go first and check your IP address, whether it's the same IP address which you have updated in all your instances. It will not be the same mostly. So why is it not the same? It tries to pick an IP address from the pool of, there is a IP range. Okay, you go with you have in your subnet range, you have a few list of IP addresses from where your VPC picks up an IP and assigns it. Actually, in that scenario, whatever is the available IP address, it picks it up and assigns it to your instance. So now, when your instance got is stopped or shut down, again it starts. It will again randomly pick an IP from the list of available IP addresses and assigns it. So it is not the same IP address. So which might affect a few of the words if at all it is IPs hard coded or something. Okay. So in that scenarios, actually you want a dedicated IP address for you, which should never change. Okay. That scenario, you go with elastic IP and assign one elastic IP for yourself and start working on it, which is again chargeable. Okay, just for trial purpose you can create C and whether you use it or not, it is there for you. If at all you created an elastic IP and it is assigned to your instance, as long as it is assigned to your instance, it is not chargeable. But once your instance is not in running state, then you're actually this gets charged. So it is actually used in environments where servers need to be continuously running, which will never be down. In such scenarios they use elastic IPs mostly. Okay, going to IAM row. Okay, so here we have a new VPC, create a new subnet, and auto assign public IP. You see, enable it. Okay, so create new VPC, create new subnet. Just quickly go to it from here only. Just loading. These are the set of VPCs that are created. Okay, so create VPC. CIDR block range. Okay, so what will be the CIDR block range? If you have any doubt, just go to I symbol. It shows you what you are supposed to fill there. So it says that what is the CIDR range which should be used for your VPC. So it can be something between, so some IP slash 24 to 28. Net mask would be from 24 to 28. So let's go 10.0.0.0 slash 24, the same one which we've taken an example. And it's a default one. It's not dedicated tenancy. Default, whatever, you can use it. Yes, create. So this is your VPC. There's one more section, subnet. also shows you under your VPC only. So I said create VPC, create subnet, okay. Meantime, subnet 1. So for your subnet, you have to select a VPC. So what was that VPC which I used? Test was the VPC. The availability zone, if you want to specifically select any availability zone, you can, or you can leave it as no preference. And CIDR block range, okay. It also should be between 16 and 28, okay. So which should be within this range, okay. This is not in the range of 24. Just create subnet. So after it creates a subnet, it creates a VPC. Can you just refresh it? It will show you the list of subnets, and after that it will show you the list of VPCs. So now you have created a VPC, you have created a subnet, and how are you going to see? So now here, so this is our VPC. Actions, you have an option to edit DHCP options, edit DNS resolution. That not required for this. How are you going to delete your unused VPCs? Go ahead and do a delete. This is a subnet which I have created. This is how you're going to delete your subnet. Okay. Mostly when you delete a VPC, the subnets would be deleted default. If at all it's not also, you can just clear it up. So this is how to create and delete a subnet. Refresh it, you can see an updated one. Just going with some default sub VPC and some default no preference, some default subnet in a variable zone. And I said assign or enable or NIP, I said enable, and IAM role button 1. Identity and access management. What is identity and access management? I told you IAM is one service, okay, which is used to control your AWS infra, or take care of it. So it is groups, users, roles, policies, and a lot of stuff in it. So probably if I start it now, it cannot be, we are running out of time. It's 8 already. So let's start off from IAM role creation, and then quickly launch our infrastructure tomorrow in next session, because there is a lot to explain when coming to IAM. So every section has some meaning, okay. This is where you can create groups, create users, create roles for your users, design some policies for them, okay. So all of them are here, okay, all the keys for them. So that this is a place where you do it, where you manage your users and your account. So let's return back quickly and start off tomorrow with, so that we can complete our infra creation and actually start learning or working, logging into our infra and actually start working on it from tomorrow, okay. Okay, if at all you have any doubts, you can just stay, or else you're running out of time or something, you can just drop off. It's up to you. Thank you. Thanks for joining.
Spandana?
Yeah, tell me.
So we started AWS, right, first?
Yeah.
As per our course content?
Yeah, we are starting AWS because everything will be taught on AWS. So it's better that first I start quickly kickstart AWS.
Okay. So you're gonna complete this AWS completely, right?
Now, whatever topics I've just shown you from the list of from the management console would be completed.
Okay.
So Sunil, I guess you added out. Was he there? I guess he's not there. Okay. Okay, chalo then. Thank you. Thanks for joining.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
See you tomorrow at same time. Bye-bye.
Yeah, sure.
Hello.
Yeah, Kiran. Hi, Kiran. Hello, Kiran. Hello. Yeah, okay. And there's a question, how are we going to use DevOps in AWS? Okay, so we are going to use